two. Hello. Hello, two. Check. Chat, are you with me? Are you with me, chat? They're not with me. The day has finally come. The day has finally come. I've long expected this day. Chad is no longer with me. Very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. I've been abandoned. I've been left behind. I've been shut out. I've been silenced. I've been cancelled. Hello, Diego. Thank you. Happy Friday to everyone, even my enemies, from Eric. Just a gregarious, generous person. Even sending Happy Friday shoutouts to his enemies. Even the haters and losers. And nothing happened. I was just complaining about the lack of chatting, but we're improving the situation. The situation is improving. The chatting will continue until morale improves. Well, my morale's improving already. What's spooky? What is this? What is washed up psycho Rob Rousseau? What is that? Jesus. It's an old Trump tweet about Bette Midler. I miss Trump feuding with like the likes of Bette Midler and all the random feuds that he had. Trump was he was a legendary beefer. He's always beefing with somebody. Still hates Rosie O'Donnell. Yeah. Like, you'd think when you become president, you should be like, just, I won, you know? I won. I won and you lost. I'm literally the president of the United States now. I'm just not going to dignify it with the response. I'm not going to talk to you. I'm not going to talk about you. You know? I'm not going to mention you anymore. Nope. He can't help himself. He cannot help himself. I respect that about him. Washed up psycho is possibly the funniest thing to call Bette Midler. It's true, yeah. Chat is being very mean, very unfair to Rob. My impression is still so bad. It's just awful. Hello, Adrian. How's it going? The happy 9/11 to even the haters. That's a good tweet. That's a banger tweet. Bette Midler also started eating up the NYT transphobia, so it's an accurate description. Oh, did she get turf pilled? That's unfortunate. She is a washed up psycho. Chat won't even hit the sub goal. Can you believe it? Some of the strongest chatters, they come up to me and they give me a hug. They say, Rob, thank you. Thank you for doing what you're doing. Tears in their eyes. Big, strong, beefy chatters. Your voice is going too deep. Well, but now with age, it's more down there, you know? I gotta work on it. There's people on TikTok now that just do it effortlessly. It honestly sounds more like Bernie. Hang on just one sec. It's the way he forms his words, like the shape of his mouth that makes the voice. That's part of it. There's a cadence. There's the mouth shape. He does the like, and the guy that James Austin Johnson really gets at he like sucks in. Chat is being not very nice. You know? I'll get it eventually. I'm going to have a whole other 4 years to figure it out, so I'm not worried. Can you imagine Donald Trump president of the United States round 2? Do you know how possible that is, that might happen? The J.J. Trump Scooby-Doo video is the GOAT Trump impression. That was absolutely the pinnacle. They're being very, very unfair to Mr. Scooby. They call him Scooby, but he doesn't do. They should call why don't they call the show Velma? By the way, 4 minutes ago it says took a lizard continued their sub from Prime gift to tier 1. So I don't know why that doesn't lead to a notification. Is that I don't know how that works. You know what? I think that should count as a sub. Excuse me. I'm going to go ahead and count that as a sub. I don't know if I technically should, but he's not just a possibility. He's for sure going to be president again. I just don't know. I think it's very possible. I think sometimes like I've talked about, we can talk all day about Biden and the Democrats and how awful they are and how useless they are and corrupt and ineffectual. The conservatives aren't really taking advantage of that in any meaningful way. Like, people still really do hate them. Like, maybe just because of apathy, enough people will just be so turned off by the Democrats that they'll slide in there. But they're not, like I've said, they're not really taking advantage of the ways that people are disillusioned with Democrats in really any meaningful way. Like, they're still just totally insane. There's probably going to be a lot of people, just like there are every year, that just buy into the you got to vote against the bad guys argument. Like, maybe it's dicey. I don't know if it's going to work, but I don't think it's beyond the realm of possibility. Yeah, both parties are just in shambles. The fact that we've had a president who participated in WrestleMania is hilarious. It is hilarious. It's probably one of the least weird things a U.S. president has done. Seems like they're going to lose key states like Michigan. I mean, that seems to be a big element. That could be the thing that determines the whole election. We'll see. We're going to be covering every silly, stupid minute of it. It'll be so bizarre to do a TRRS election spectacular 4 years later. I set my alarm for 8:30 today and somehow woke up at 10. I haven't woke up at 10 in so fucking long. If I woke up at 10 at any time, I would just be amazed. If I woke up at 10, I would be like, what the fuck's going on? Like, is there something wrong with me? No, I can't. Dude, I can barely wake up at 8. Like, when I sleep in past 8 a.m., I'm like, ooh, it's like a nice little treat. Even when I'm alone. Because, like, I have some nights, like, not often. Most of the time in the mornings, I have stuff I got to do. Every now and then, I have a night where I'm, like, alone, and I'm able to sleep in, and I wake up at, like, 7:45. Woke up at 9:20 and feel amazing about it. Jesus Christ, Eric. What are you, Rip Van Winkle over here? What are you, Sleepy McSleepington? You do need your rest. Hey, Kijiji. There's some good missions last night. We did some good killing. Bot killing. When you talk about libs losing their minds over Rishi telling people not to vote for Biden in the Michigan primary. Why do they care? Who are these psychotic Democrats that are voting for Biden in the primary right now? Honestly, like, if you were spending time doing that or even thinking about it for a moment, you're a sick person. Like, you're sick. This is how much I support Joe Biden and the Democratic Party. I show up, even when not only do I show up when they need me to, I show up when they don't need me to. I show up when it means it's completely meaningless and it does nothing. That's how much I love voting for Joseph Robinette Biden. I show up even when they don't want me to, even when they don't ask. Anything that I can vote for, I'm showing up and I'm voting blue down the ticket. No matter what it is. Like, who are these people? What's wrong with them? I'll demonstrate loyalty to the party by hitting myself with a hammer. I'm doing my part but Starship Troopers, but somehow worse. Yeah. Sickos. Seriously. I thought they weren't doing primaries. Well, they're not. But I guess there's, like, some Democrats, and correct me if I'm wrong here, this is my understanding of it. Some Democrats are just showing up to the primaries to write in Biden. Like, they're showing up to the primaries that are happening. just to send a message. Just to send a message that Biden's got soldiers. He's got shooters. Joe Biden's got shooters out there. They're going to show up. But cages will come back if Trump is elected. Biden has the children in border processing facilities. Like, these people are just unreal. In Cali, it's a full primary for some reason. Okay, so I guess there's different... Okay, so there are certain states... Excuse me for not totally understanding how America's ridiculous electoral system actually functions. So there are some states where third-party candidates are able to get like on the ballot, right? But not uniform. It's depending on what the different states and what their specific rules are. Is that it? Okay, most Americans don't know either. Anyway, the system is very weird. I think that's putting it lightly. I think my point, though, is, you know, if you're showing up to vote for Joe Biden when you don't really have to, you're a sick person. Iowa, you have shocked the nation. Oh, what a night that was. It's funny recalling 4 years ago how into that I was. I was really like, I was more invested in that primary than I've been invested in just about anything in my life, and was really hanging on every story, every development. And I'm really just like, because I'm technically a journalist or commentator or analyst or whatever you want to say it is, entertainer, I have to somewhat pay attention to it, but I'm just trying to avoid thinking about it as much as possible, really. I'm really just trying not to engage, even though I host a political podcast and talk about news and politics. Really kind of trying to think of it about it the bare minimum. I still may go down to the DNC and the RNC, though, just to be part of the nightmare carnival circus sideshow. Thank you, Cinnamon Challenge. It's been quite a 4 years. Many of you folks have been along with me for the ride for now. Going on 4 years or longer if people came from the listen to the podcast stuff that I did. It's been a long journey. Go and bear witness to our crumbling. That's what I mean. It's like you just see... It's like you're driving by on the highway and you see some big burning collision. And just out of morbid curiosity, it's just, you slow down a little bit. You know? It's kind of one of those things. I think that last U.S. election, followed by the Canadian federal election and the Ontario election, made me very disheartened about electoral politics. And the UK as well, Eric. Like, I was really invested in Jeremy Corbyn as well. 2019, and you can go back and listen to my content that time. I felt like the world was at our fingertips, and that this was the way, that these two like silly old men were going to lead us to salvation. And oh boy, did that not happen. Oh boy, did not just the other side come together to ensure that neither of those two guys could do anything, but like the people that are in their own parties. came together to ensure that they couldn't take these like boring center left-wing policies and act on them. That's what all that was about. It was about some mild social democracy. Look at how much they freaked the fuck out over Corbyn and Bernie. Look how much the entire establishment, not just like, who cares what conservatives are saying? Like, we know what they're saying. But like the whole liberal establishment freaked the fuck out over some basic little mild social democracy. That's all it was. For both of those guys, that's all they were proposing. And people just lost it. They lost their minds. The UK went actually crazy. Like, the UK fully just dove off a cliff rather than have a kind old grandpa that makes jam enact some social democratic policies. No, King Window, and I mean, that's exactly why Corbyn is the man, I think. Like, you can have criticisms of him or whatever for being too nice or playing too kindly with the establishment or getting played a little bit, but that's right, he never did bow down. And in fact, I hope he starts a new party and costs the Labour Party the election. I think that would be the ultimate thing that he could do that I would support now. And look at the progressives in Ontario who lost their minds over Sarah Jama. Exactly. It's like, this is just pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. What the landscape that we're left with in the West, you know, Canada, the UK, America, after decades and decades of suppressing and destroying any semblance of a left-wing movement, this is what we're left with, and it's just sad. It's just a sad state of affairs. Lots of people on the ground have good ideas and are passionate, and there's a lot of people not in that system that are fantastic, that do give me hope. But like, you see these old, crooked, corrupt institutions and how they're just entirely, their whole existence is to ensure that none of these social democratic policies, these mild policies, ever pass. It seems to be like their whole reason to exist. But that's why I was really happy to talk to Sarah Jama the other day. And I just released the podcast episode, and I put it on YouTube as well. So if you did miss that, is there. Please give that some likes and comments. Maybe one day I'll have a YouTube video that actually people see. Bernie did a good job of redirecting that energy back into the Dems. Feels like it was intentional now that I look back. I don't know, Decadune. I guess it's disillusioning, isn't it? But I just think that he either got played or he saw he had the brass ring in his hand and he couldn't quite grab it, you know? I don't think it was some intentional sheepdogging plot. I think he just didn't have it. He didn't have it to really go after these people. It felt like he was paralyzed by not wanting to be the Ralph Nader figure that got scapegoated and blamed for bad things happening. And when he had an opportunity, he had their underbelly, the soft underbelly of the establishment was exposed, and he had the killing strike ready to go, and he just kind of pulled it a little bit, and that was the only opportunity that these people needed to then just put him right where they needed him to be. Yeah, and of course he gets blamed anyway. Yeah. There's no point in appeasing people who are unappeasable. I mean, this is what the Bernie thing and the Corbyn thing showed me, is that the people, the ruling class, not just in general in our society, but in these political parties, that these like liberal political parties, need to be fundamentally like taken on and dismantled. Right? Because that's what they do to competing social orders. They dismantle those, you know? So it's not a case of like, oh, we just need to work with these people. We have to do this. These people have to be just completely rendered powerless. And they have to be taken on, purged from these parties and these. If there's ever a hope of wielding one of these parties and steering it in that kind of a direction. All these people, these snakes and people that are, you know, not on board with the project, they got to be gone. They got to be gone right away. No remorse. And I mean gone as in removed from the party, purged, removed from these positions of power. Your opponent must have a conscience. That's right. Exactly. I mean, listen, like I was saying earlier, Halo Dane, like I was saying earlier, you can track my whole political progression, like since like 2017 or 2018. I was very much on board with all this whole idea of running inside these parties, filling them with people that are more progressive, electing people to leadership that can like change the program. I was very much on board with this idea, and it was watching the results of that, like paying really, really close attention to 2018, 2019, 2020, or going back like to the original primary and when Corbyn was first elected. So like plotting the trajectory from 2015 to 2020, where that movement was going, and seeing what happened to both Corbyn and Bernie, and to also see like what the institutional left is at in Canada at the same time. That is just disillusioning. That is just absolutely disillusioning. Yeah, and it just shows that you can't work with these people. You know? Like I said, all of that shit. This is the ultimate irony of like the entire last few years. Like I was saying, all of that freak out over those 5 years, let's call it, were over just these guys that wanted to institute this like basic threadbare social democratic policies. You know, doing more national health care, maybe nationalizing a few industries, investing in fucking transit. You know, what even was it? Like, it wasn't strengthening unions, labor unions. That's all all the freak out was over. And they came together like white blood cells to ensure that like none of these movements would ever take hold, to lead to these very mild policies that would have improved a lot of people's lives. And the system would be so much more stable. That's the ultimate irony of social democracy, is that if instituted, our whole society and culture would be so much more stable, and the people at the top could keep running that grift, and people would be pretty disengaged if they had their basic needs met. People would be like, good, my basic needs are met. You're going to protest about this? I'm going to stay home, actually. I feel pretty good about where we are. You know? It's like that's why it's like a suicide mission. It's like a death cult. They refuse to allow any like pressure valve to be activated that would maybe turn down the temperature a little bit. You know, can we have just a little bit of healthcare? Can we have a few crumbs from this like vast hoard of wealth of the last several decades or several centuries of brutal imperialism? Can we just have a few crumbs? And the people are just like, no, the capitalists, the ruling class. No, you may not. No crumbs. You get nothing. They're Willy Wonka in the end of the Willy Wonka movie. You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir. You know? And then it's making our whole society, to say nothing of our whole environment and everything, way less stable. And they have people protesting in the streets and going crazy and like, you know, it's self-defeating. All these people would still be so rich. The only pressure valve will be the baby boomers dying off instead of retiring, and it won't be soon enough. I mean, the pressure valve, unfortunately, where it looks like we're going is going to be fascism, is going to be genocide, not just in Palestine, but coming home eventually, which is the ultimate expression of fascism, right? And that's going to be the steam valve. That's what all the cop cities are for, exactly. They know what's coming. They know what's the ruling class, the establishment, whatever you want to call these people, whatever. They know full well what's coming over the next 10, 15 years. And they're getting ready for it. I think the George Floyd protests were the test, I think there were some people in the higher positions in our society that thought that was the moment. That's when it was going to start to happen. It almost is like it's a pattern, yeah. Anyway, yeah, it's amazing to me that like when you think about it in those terms, how it seems so self-defeating, and it seems like it is a death cult, it's like a suicide cult. Like the people that are like at the top upper echelons of our society, if like America, just to take America as an example, had like basic free healthcare, childcare and education, if there was some kind of a housing initiative to like make housing actually affordable, like building housing, like what the government should be able to do, we've talked about a lot. The people at the upper echelons of society would still be so wealthy. They would still have more money than they ever knew what to do with. I don't understand these people. I really don't. And they choose the same people that complain about all the decaying cities and all the homeless and the addiction. They watch it on Fox News every night. The same people advocate against all the policies that would alleviate that and advocate for policies that create that kind of decay. Like you don't have to have homeless. You don't have to have like people living in desperation and homelessness and addiction on the streets. You can put policies in place to help those people and make sure they have a place to live and they have health care and they can get a job. And then you won't have to deal with that. But they don't want that. Because they on the same, some of them, they seem to like the decay, because it gives them an excuse to just like treat human beings like vermin, or like just some fucking disease that needs to be eradicated. Whether they're talking about the homeless or the people that are going through addiction or whatever else in the streets, or people coming across the southern United States border. Apocalypse cult, but it works because I don't think half of the millennials even have the capability of daydreaming about the future as if it'll be an improvement. I think Gen Z have been told their whole lives that the planet is dying and they have no real future. So after them, is sci-fi even going to do its job for them? There's so little hope. I mean, it's something we take for granted, the fact that like this whole generation is just under us. Like Lodain, like me, you, like people that grew up like around the same era. We grew up with a foot in the previous world. And now it's like we're in this transition period to the new world, and it's strange. But there's a whole generation of people growing up with, we have nothing will get better. Everything is going to continue to get worse until we might just die. We might just all die. There's a whole generation just growing up like that now. Yeah, it's impossible for people to imagine a world without capitalism if they just envision the end of everything. That's it. It's like we're just mentally like programmed to not not believe that any other better world is possible. You know? And anytime you like start to have that thought, we could do things differently. We could just make the world totally different. There's some like switch in your brain that just like doesn't allow you to complete that thought. And when I think people, that's why they resent, like especially these liberals, they resent people when they're like young people that are like idealistic, that are passionate about like climate or Palestine or housing or whatever, and they have such contempt for them. It's like they have so much contempt for these people, even more than the people on the right. They have contempt for like young people that are actually care about things, because they're just like, how dare you want things to be better? Look at this person out there thinking they can make things better. That's disgusting to me. I can't believe that. The fucking audacity that these people would have to think that their lives could be better, that we could make our lives better. You know what I mean? It's because you're gonna have good old
Rob to talk you through.
Internalized this idea that it's just not that this is all we have. This is all we can ever have. It's all we can ever hope for, and that's all we can ever do. They've internalized this idea, and once they see people that are trying to struggle against that, it makes them angry and upset. Do you know how much I compromised my soul to get where I am? Diego, thank you for the gifted sub. But it feels so good to be smarmy when you're hiding your bitterness about your own situation. Yeah, the only thing we can ever hope for is Joe Biden. Yes, he's committing genocide. Yes, he's not doing enough on climate. Yes, he's contributing to the eventual concentration camps on the southern United States border. That's all we can ever have. The other people are worse, and that's all. That's all we get. That's all we're allowed to have. So our betters told us that this is how it goes, so this is what we're doing. Have you noticed he's not orange? Who cares if he doesn't know what the fuck's going on? I knew a guy who complained about paying his college loans off, and it hurt his ability to care for his family, but everyone should struggle too. That's right. I think one of the most heartbreaking things of the last 4 years, honestly, is reading testimonies, and I really encourage anyone to do this. I wrote a piece like this, actually, because when I was on SURB in 2020, I was like, holy shit, my basic needs are being met. It was so easy. It was so easy for the government to just snap their fingers and say, your basic needs can be met now. And reading testimonies from people who during that period in both Canada and the United States with the policies that were put into place then were like, holy shit, my basic needs are being met, and I'm not working all the time, and I'm not miserable, and I'm able to spend some time with my family and fucking relax and maybe work on something. There's just so many people, it was just life-changing for them. Yeah, we do, with the neoliberals, have a very opposing ideas of fairness. And these people kind of fearmonger about like the encroaching right-wing, the possibility of more right-wing policies and right-wing people to be taking over, and they refuse to acknowledge their culpability in creating that situation. I think it was radicalizing for people risk adverse, and that's why they had to take it away too, you know? Like I've been saying before, if Biden wanted to remain seen as the modern day FDR, all he had to do was make those policies that were already put in place, make them permanent. Find a way to do it. But they can't, though. They can't have that. They can't have people understanding that the government, the state, can literally just snap their fingers and take all your problems away and just make your basic needs met. They literally can at any time, and they just choose not to. Every day there's like this button in the state, wherever you are, there's this button that says take away everyone's problems, and just every day they just don't press the button. There's two buttons. There's one make it worse button, and then there's a take away everyone's problems button. And these people just show up and clock into work every single day and press the make it worse button. Just over and over and over. Money is made up. It's literally fake. Well, and that's the whole inflation thing, right? And then industry comes together. Just basically these massive cartels come together and collude on raising all their prices. Now that there's more cash flowing around, raise all their prices so that goes to them instead of average people that need it. They collude to raise all their prices in the grocery stores and all the other places where there's been this kind of inflation. And then people, rather than saying like, what the fuck, why are you raising your prices? Lower them. Don't raise them. What are you doing? Rather than doing that, they go, see, that's what happens when we meet people's basic needs. They're mad now, and now they're raising their prices. You know? Like, and what's wrong with you? But that's the peasant mentality that I was talking about. You know? That's the peasant mindset. And that's the thing, we brag about our democracy, but like, if basically we have leaders of industry here in Canada and the United States, that when the government that is elected by people, that's what our fucking democracy is supposed to be about. If the people actually elect enough people in the government to enact basic economic policies that takes money from the top and puts it at the bottom, and they say, no, we're gonna raise all our prices now to basically punish people. We're going to raise all our prices to punish people. So they know that they're not allowed to do that. And like, if that's what's going on, if that's what inflation is, and that's like that's the economics 101 explanation for why this happens. Well, there's too much money floating around and it just leads to inflation. It's this magical, like scientific, biological process. We give people money for their housing and their healthcare or their childcare, whatever, and mysteriously prices just go up. They just go up. It's just this thing that happens. But like, then we don't live in a democracy though, you know? If we can't actually go and vote for these policies. We talked earlier about like whether it's possible to even get these parties on board to pass an agenda like that. There's all these roadblocks in place to ensure that never happens, like we talked about with the Bernie and Jeremy Corbyn thing. But if you manage to actually take over a government and pass policies democratically through these democratic policies, these systems, and then industry just comes together to say, no, you're not allowed to do that. We're raising prices. We're gonna punish everybody. Then that's not an actual democracy. That's you have a ruling class of industrialists and capitalists in charge, and we all get to just kind of play around and pretend that we can make some choices sometimes. But ultimately, if they don't like the choice, they're going to come down and say, from their mountaintops or whatever, they're going to come down and be like, no, not allowed. Not allowed. Like, that's not an actual democracy then. That's basically, we're just giving suggestions to the ruling class that they can choose not to follow. Oh, you wanted to vote for something better? We're shutting down debates and primaries. That's right. Like, that's what I mean. There's so many roadblocks in the way of even like getting to passing those policies in the first place through these democratic political institutions. But then if you actually do, you have like a ruling class of this, just a basically criminal cartel of all these different industry leaders that can just come together to decide not to follow what these policies are. And what is their end game? Do they think that? I mean, what do they think? Well, that's what I mean. I feel like it is like a suicide cult, because ultimately they're just creating the conditions for their own destruction. They're even destroying the planet, and they know full well that that's what's going on too. You know, they're killing everybody, including themselves, just so they can see their precious little lines going up. They just want the precious little lines going up Just not even in your life. Like, some of these people probably just live miserable lives. It's all just about looking at a little line and just making it go like that, in that direction. And it gives them some kind of, they have a sick addiction to it. And they're just going to do that until we all die. Anyway, happy Friday, everyone. We used the computer to mark up the size of the account. That's what I mean. That's why I included that sound very early on in doing this show, you know? They literally can. They can just snap their fucking fingers and then make all your problems go away. It's really amazing. And as I said, the richest people in our society would still be very rich if that were to happen. I do really hate this whole idea of economics and inflation and the way it's presented like it's some kind of science, and we just completely remove the human element out of that. No, it's the numbers are just doing that. I don't know, they just do that. We remove the human beings out of that process. We psychologically just erase them from that process, you know? The human beings making decisions about and agreeing to do things. Yeah, it's just nature. It's just an algorithm. That's the end of history. No one made these choices. Things just are just because. Yeah, we just have to kind of get out of the way from this thing that just does these things. We don't know how. We have some robed monks basically that look at the sacred texts and interpret them for us to explain what's happening. And we're supposed to say, "Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you." Hey, Burgles, how's it going? Kind of on a bit of a rant here. Greco-Roman, for example, mythology is when there's a cast of powerful people that decide how the world works. There they are on Mount Olympus, making decisions for us all, singling out individuals with capricious, abusive behavior. None of us have any say. Our modern gods are Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Donald Trump, etc. I think, yeah, they're you can trace all through that line and see that there's the same kind of psychological motivation, even if we have a system now that claims to be objective and secular. You know, it's still kind of the same mentality that's animating that. I have a line chart as part of the grocery tracker with the CPI for food prices and prices for everything else. In 2022, there was a multi-month period where inflation on food prices were around double everything else. Interesting when you consider the record-breaking profits in the industry. What you're describing, Eric, is so obviously a crime, right? It is insane that we just sit back and allow this shit to happen. It's honestly infuriating. That's a crime. That's corruption. That's collusion. They're literally just, what are the 4 or 5 grocery families in this country? A handful of people literally just come together and be like, hey, let's make more money. Let's all agree to make more money. And they just do. Then they just take from everyone. They take from the people at the very bottom of this pyramid and they siphon it right up to the top and they go, oh, thank you. Thank you, everybody, and you're welcome for being job creators. Those prices are not going back to what they were either. Oh, not only are they not going back, no, but we're slowing the rate of inflation, though. Don't worry. This is what people are running on now. Of course, we're not de-inflating anything. Of course, obviously, but we're slowing the rate of increase. Our most popular grocery store company are owned by the shipping company Maersk, which made rifles for Hitler and never faced any consequences for it. Fucking take all these grocery baron families in Canada or wherever else and trace back a couple generations, and I'm sure you're going to find some interesting stuff about what their great granddads were up to. It's the same people. It's the exact same people. I don't think they'd ever do price controls. Nixon mentioned it. Look what happened to him. For sure. That's the obscene thing is that, like we've talked about before, Nixon was like the last New Deal president. And yeah, he was a corrupt and a war criminal and a horrible person, but was like objectively to the left of like Barack Obama, for example. Even gods can be killed. I'm not Olympus. That's true. Yeah. I like that. But Watergate was clearly a setup. Yeah, I have come around to this idea that Nixon was basically couped. Not that they didn't have legitimate stuff to get him on. Like, he was a criminal and he was like a awful person. But I do think he got made an example of for a few things. Last liberal president, not New Deal. He was not a New Deal supporter. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just kind of more of that ethos of still promoting some of these, like, what you could describe as kind of like Great Society kind of policies, like the EPA and stuff like that. Like 1/6 being a setup for Trump. Exactly, Dakadoon. And like we know with January 6th, plenty of people just totally organically went along with that. And like when we talk about that, it doesn't mean that everything is this facade, or that there aren't people genuinely that are like involved in these movies and that are not part of any kind of conspiracy or anything. But absolutely, it's like a honeypot. That's how I've come to think about January 6th and a number of other events. It's basically a honeypot for a bunch of like right-wing psychos and Trump himself that they were stupid enough to walk right into. Feds are having a field day in trapping hogs in December 2020. And that's the amazing thing about the national security, the law and order state as well, is it's like you've got undercover cops part of that movement making it happen and pushing people forward. And you have like non-undercover off-duty cops or retired cops that are just brainwashed reactionary thugs that are just part of the movement organically themselves. Yeah, well, you're absolutely right, Diego. I mean, that's why we celebrate with Kissinger's death, particularly, because Kissinger was Nixon is responsible for that as well, but a lot of that is Kissinger was leading American foreign policy at that time through a bunch of administrations. The scheme to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer has that smell too. I mean, well, think about what the FBI does. That was the whole Islamic extremism thing. That's what they would do. They convince people this is what they do. They convince people to commit crimes by going undercover, either personally or probably a lot of online shit in Discord or Telegram or whatever. They convince people to commit crimes, and then they arrest them for committing the crimes, and then they give themselves a parade afterwards, and they give themselves more money. Yeah, they get them all worked up on Facebook. Absolutely. Many such cases. Anyway, I mean, we also just started talking about this subject that I've been going on for about almost an hour about, but how radicalizing of a journey that it's been over the last, I would say, 8 years or so. I mean, I really started paying attention, like, I really followed the Bush-Kerry election. I followed the Obama years, but since since the last decade or so, just that journey, coming from being the disillusionment of Obama, the whole rise of like Bernie and Corbyn and trying to take over these liberal parties, what happened to them, and then the previous 4 years. Like I was saying, no one can accuse me of like grifting or like changing my ideology. Like anyone can track the downward spiral my sort of like cynicism has gone, or the downward spiral of my optimism and the rapidly apparent cynicism about pretty much anything, about using these kind of bourgeois big parties to do anything. They're watching us. Well, at least somebody is. But it's not all bad, you know? It's not all bad. It's brought us all together, you know? Like I've been saying, I don't have a ton of faith in like people that are working in the political institutions. That doesn't mean I don't have faith in people, though. I think there's, in fact, more of us than there are of them, of people that have the right ideas and good values and know what needs to be done. Our little pocket of sanity in an insane world. It really does feel that way for us sometimes in here. For me and for you, I hope, because it's been that way for me as well, believe me. Yeah, I just got to turn off my light in the corner there. We're not getting romantic. It's just that light makes a little flickering effect on my wall there. It really warms my heart to see Hill Dog and her ilk getting heckled at every single thing they go into. Yeah, that's nice. I hope that it stays like that for the rest of their careers. And I think that's one of the things that I wanted to talk to Sarah Jama about, is just like how, like a big part of seeing what happened to both Corbyn and Bernie, like we were talking about, was not giving into this bad faith bullshit. And I think more and more people are understanding that we do need to reject this idea of like, we don't need to play these games. I think Palestine's the example right now because it's what's happening right now. But like, we can recognize when people are trying to destroy our momentum, when people are trying to redirect. You know, we see all the cynical bad faith shit in our media every day, and we talked about it, like with the NDP and how they apologize for all this stuff and say, oh, that went too far, that protest was too far, we need to play all these games of respectability. Like, I think a lot of people are starting to realize that no, we don't have to play these games anymore. If we know something is being done in bad faith, if there's some bad faith outrage happening, we don't need to legitimize that. Excuse me. We don't need to legitimize that. You know what I mean? I think that's one thing I've become good at recognizing when you see that cynical bullshit happening. And I think that's going to be our way forward, is refusing to play these kind of games anymore. Like when a Palestine protest goes by Mount Sinai Hospital and someone dresses up like Spider-Man and waves a flag, and then people say, "Oh, I felt unsafe. I felt unsafe. They were threatening. It was very scary. They're being racist." We don't have to say, "Oh, we're so sorry. Oh, we didn't mean that. We're just trying to talk about the genocide. We're just trying to talk about the mass murder, the ethnic cleansing that we're doing. We really didn't mean to make it." It's like, no, we don't need to fucking do this anymore. If you're angry about a Spider-Man waving a flag when we've killed tens of thousands of little kids over the last 4 months, and you take in one hand tens of thousands of little kids, and on the other hand, Spider-Man waving a flag on top of a hospital. If you really think we should spend time talking about the hospital thing, then like, you're sick. What's wrong with you? You know what I mean? Like, we don't need to legitimize that anymore. What the fuck is wrong with you if you care about that more than you care about the mass murder that we're supporting? I think the whole time that I've been paying attention to this with politics, like probably for the last 20 years, is just time and time again the way these tactics are used to delegitimize people's concerns protesting about anything. Any of the major things we've been seeing. You know, from the Iraq war to Occupy Wall Street to some of these big campaigns to the BLM protests. And time again, it's always like, complaining, like people finding these little outrage cycles to criticize these movements over rather than addressing the very real concerns that people have. Like all the people that still care about buildings and like Wendy's getting burned down. When there's people protesting this system of like corrupt, criminal, violent thugs murdering people paid by the government to shoot people in the street. And people are upset about the fact that this institution exists. And people are really like, but that Wendy's got burned down. Oh my God. That was so scary. The Starbucks windows are getting smashed. That's so scary. You know, it's like, it's the same tactics time and time again. And we just don't have to legitimize that shit anymore. And the way that this is a good point too, the way they're cynically deployed causes harm to the legitimate grievances. Exactly. In like the exact same way that all these bad faith allegations of anti-Semitism harm Jewish people and make anti-Semitism more possible. It's kind of the same concept. Who else will stand up to the simple land developer? And again, if you said like, okay, if you're angry about housing or you don't think the development's happening fast enough, why shouldn't the government just snap their fingers like we know that they can do and just build more housing rather than like giving a third party like special little benefits so they do it? Why doesn't the state just build the housing and say it costs this much? We're building millions and millions of new units. Here's how much it costs.
To talk you through all this.
It costs this much. And the same people are just like, no, you can't do that. You know what that would do to the land developers' profits? You know what that would do to the real estate developers' profits? And half the people, like not even half, like most of the people that spend time ensuring that system continues don't even have any fucking capital themselves. It's the people that have the least capital that are going to give the most passionate arguments about why you can't ever do this kind of stuff. Here's another Xi win that's real estate related. China bought these towers in downtown LA and lets them sit there. They're decrepit and covered in graffiti now. Those look really cool. I saw that they were planning on demolishing them or getting rid of the graffiti. That's our system. They just can't do anything about it. Boston built many expensive apartment blocks and no one could afford it, so they became private dorms where you pay $2,000 a month to live with 2 or 3 strangers. Like, what? What the fuck are we doing? I think that's one of the most maddening things, is that all of a lot of these problems are so fixable. Just like climate was fixable. We knew that, like, listen, even give the industrialists of the past centuries, of the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, a pass. Let's pretend that they had no idea that their industries were going to cause the climate of the planet to change. Nevertheless, though, they did realize this in the 70s with like eerily accurate accuracy, an eerily accurate determination. They realized that their activities were fundamentally changing the climate of the planet. That was in the late 70s. I'm sure they knew before, but just to be fair, Max, like just to be totally fair to these people, let's say it was in the late 70s that they realized this. You know, if we had come together at that time as a massive historic push to say like, oh shit, let's start doing all the things that we're doing now. Let's start like regulating carbon emissions. Let's build electric vehicles. Let's start massive investment into solar and wind. Like, let's do that right now. Massive $1 billion, $1 trillion investment. We would be now in pretty good shape. You know? That process doesn't happen overnight. It was going to take place over decades, that kind of transition. And now we're saying, oh, the timeline is so low. Now if we have to transition right away, we have to transition like overnight, which is just not possible. You know, even the last 10, not even the late 70s, even the last 15 years. Even the last 15 years when we've been making all these climate pledges and all this shit. We could have still started the transition and been in way better shape then if we started 15 years ago. And we haven't done shit. You know? You can even compensate people who own single-family homes at 100% for primary residence, 50% for secondary, and 0% from there if building public housing lowers their values. That way investors get soaked. Yeah. Exactly. And they can afford it. And if you can't, too bad. You lose. You lose capitalism. Sorry. If you're losing your third home, can't help you. You know, so that's the insane thing. Like we could have dealt with this problem. All these problems were solvable. The housing problem is solvable. We literally just have to build more housing and stop having this stupid, ridiculous system where we just throw money at the most wealthy, powerful people in the world and just ask them to maybe help us out by doing some stuff. And they just say repeatedly, no. No, thank you. What an insane system. It's all just insane. Who decided that we were doing things like this? Who decided that we were doing things this way? I would love to watch America explain why China building free hotels for the homeless is actually bad. Well, Lodane, like the high-speed rail thing, the way they'll explain that it's actually bad is they'll say, well, it's not profitable, though. These Chinese billionaires that invested in these high-speed rail lines are not making any money. That's what they say. That's their evidence that it's not good to do that. because they think anything that takes away from the ability of like the wealthiest people in our society just continually profit off of everything and constantly see everything the line go up permanently forever, no matter what they do. They see that as inherently not good. Same way they say youth unemployment in China is so high. Yeah, and I don't want to discount either, Kev, that like I think China is having economic problems right now. But I also think like the way that we determine the health of an economy, they seem to be, in my limited understanding of it, I don't want to say I'm a fucking expert or anything, but it seems to be like they're quantifying what constitutes a good economy in a different way, not so much by the stock market. Or they're trying to decommodify their housing market, which is like making people lose lots of money. But they're like doing that intentionally because they don't think that it should be commodified to that extent. I would like to start learning, like have someone on that can explain more about like specifically what's been going on with China's economy over the last year or so, because I do think it's really interesting. It would be good to get more of a handle on like what is going on with that housing market. What kind of like HTA? It's so silly. What kind of sick system allows a public works project to be built with private money, completes the project, tells the investors to pound sand, and punishes all the corruption that occurred? Like, wow, this authoritarian dictatorship. This is terrifying. I can't believe this. This is so offensive to me. Like, that actually sounds pretty good to me. No? Like, I think that sounds all right, actually. But again, we can't envision a society that we don't have these, like, wealthy fucking losers just dictating everything, getting whatever they want at all times. And while we get nothing. I was informed by YouTube that China's economy only has 30 days left. That was 9 months ago. Is there any day now? I mean, it's been going on for years, the whole China collapse incoming. It was supposed to be in 2018. It was supposed to be in 2019. It was supposed to be in 2020. It was supposed to be in 2021. It was supposed to be in 2022. It was supposed to be in 2023. Maybe this is the year that it happens, you know, but the walls are closing in. Why would we wish that on the people of China? I don't know. It's like, I think it's, you know, I talked a little bit about the phenomenon a while back about how people like get upset at anyone trying to make things better. I think we do that in our societies, like the liberals in our societies do that. How dare you want to make things better? And I think it's the same thing. It's like we're so wedded to our own ideology and our own way of doing things, and we've internalized this idea that our way of life is just the only way. And when we see anyone trying to build something different, it's offensive to us because it's been programmed into our identity to defend this like system. Yeah, it would mean that someone was better than us. You know. People mock their subways to nowhere, and then a year later, it's a fully functioning neighborhood with a subway. Yeah, I mean, I think this is why it's kind of pointless to like ever try and judge what's going on in China by like individual things that are happening, because there's a long-term plan that's in the process of being followed. This is just, it's like a mentality that we can't understand because we're slaves to this like quarter by quarter corporate profit boom and bust cycle, and we're all slaves to it. They have capital. They have a market economy. That elements of a market economy. They have elements of a capitalist economy, but they're doing something different, though. They're kind of operating on a different level. They're building something long term, and every year there's a little step that gets put into place. pea-brained Americans can't understand the concept of a planned economy. Yeah, and then we're like throwing away hundreds of tons of food every year while people are going hungry. Like we're just producing junk and just producing it in a factory, putting it on a boat so it grows across the ocean, unloading it, and just like basically just driving it to a landfill elsewhere, just dropping it in. And we have an entire just economy that's set up to do that every single day. But we can't have a planned economy though. Vacant houses with millions of homeless people. China has so much renewable energy they can't even plug into the grid yet. Well, like, as we've talked about, like the more solar panels last year than have ever been built or installed in the United States in the history of the United States last year. You know, and they're very clear about the fact that they're going to continue to use fossil fuels because they need to in order to like keep the lights on. But there's an actual transition that's clearly being put into place step by step, while we're just sitting around going like, maybe at some point, maybe we'll build that like futuristic Hyperloop transporter thing at some, maybe, I don't know. And that's all that goes. And then 10 years go by and nothing gets done. Occasionally telling shareholders to chillax. Yeah. And like I've talked a lot about on the show, I mean, I think talking about that is one thing that like doesn't make me feel super pessimistic about the future. At least someone's transitioning to trying to transition to something different, you know? It's not happening here, but somebody's doing it. And that ultimately, that represents like way, way more people in the world. You know, they're creating a future where like the vast majority of people in the world can have better lives. It might not, and the people that have hoarded everything for generations and generations and generations are probably going to have a little less. That's all right, though. Our transition is building more LNG pipelines through stolen land and nothing else. Yeah, we're violating treaties that we made with these indigenous nations, siphoning away the resources, sprinkling a few jobs into the area, as those are the crumbs. Here, you take a few jobs. Take a few jobs. Those are the crumbs. And then the profits just go into these like CEOs and board members and shareholders for these foreign companies, like mostly American companies. And our energy prices go up instead of down. While we're producing the resources, and our energy prices are going up instead of down. How does that make sense? And people still defend this, you know? That's the amazing thing to me. People just totally brainwashed and programmed to defend the thing that's like making their own life miserable. The stress of insecurity under capitalism, why those rich fucks want to distance themselves to an absurd degree. Yeah, and like I was saying, as we saw at the beginning of COVID, the state in both Canada and the United States does have the ability to just snap their fingers and make everyone's lives better. Like they do. That's why they had to take that away. They can't get anyone getting any ideas about what's possible with the state. Now we're just totally helpless to do any of that stuff. We're just totally helpless. No. They can literally just snap their fingers and take everyone's problems away. Or in the case of the Wet'suwet'en Nation, we're taking over sovereign territories to pump gas. Yeah. And like look at the Belt and Road Initiative, to bring it back to the China thing. I feel like that would be such a better way to do things. If we're going to make the argument that while we're transitioning into a more efficient, a more sustainable energy system, we still need to use fossil fuels in our society while we engage in this transition. Okay, if we can we can internalize that logic. And if we said to the nations and the communities where this infrastructure has to go, not maybe you can get a job, oh yeah, maybe you can get a decent job in this industry. But if the industries that were taking these resources said, we will come in here and build water filtration plants and schools and roads and ports and airports and hospitals, that would be different. And like those nations could still say, no, thank you. We don't want you to take it at all. They could still say that. They could democratically decide to say that. But that would be at least a much more fair way of like getting at these resources, which has all kinds of dangers and consequences like we've talked about environmentally. If we can get these resources, here's what we're going to do to like ensure that you're going to benefit from this, and like your land is not going to be destroyed, but we're going to do what we need to do to make sure that like you can prosper. I'm sure the ramping up of LNG in Canada has nothing to do with the Nord Stream being blown up. But yeah, I mean, it's all about extracting the resources from here, energy production here, and continuing to make sure the rest of the world is like dependent on us, especially like Western Europe, which with the Nord Stream 2 is starting to become less dependent and more sovereign because they could make a deal with Russia. Remember when that was investigated? Remember when we found who blew that up? And remember when we all knew exactly what happened on day one? I think that's the amazing thing about having our kind of analysis, the kind of analysis that we do on this program, where you don't have to wait when the Nord Stream pipeline's blown up. You don't have to wait years for an investigation to go nowhere and then just throw up your hands and say, I guess we'll never know. You can just know immediately. You can just know on day one. It's kind of freeing in a way. You don't have to have the big investigation. You can just know exactly what happened. One of my smartest friends actually told me there's so much strong evidence they did it themselves. When I talked about the pipeline, it made me so sad. It's just like it's such mental gymnastics to just not see the obvious thing that's in front of your face, It's just obvious right there. And people will do anything to avoid looking at the thing that's right in front of their faces. Yeah, you can expect it before it happens. Brandon admitted it on TV. There won't be when Biden says there won't be a Nord Stream pipeline, you can look at that and be like, hey, I wonder if something's going to happen to the Nord Stream pipeline. And then it inevitably is bombed. And it's like, oh, well, we know what happened then. It's like if I was sitting here on this show and was like, later on tonight, I'm going to put on cat ears and I'm going to go down to the local gas station and do a backflip on the security camera and then go and steal a chocolate bar from the display. And then later on that night, surely enough, you see an unidentified person in cat ears doing a cartwheel, making off with a chocolate bar. And people come to me and say, Rob, was that you? And it's like, well, I had nothing to do with this. What are you talking about? We can't see. There's no evidence. We need to investigate what happened here. We need to investigate what happened in this situation. I'm putting together a committee. We don't know that the gas station didn't stage that themselves. We don't know that. It could be anything. You know what I mean? It's a stupid analogy, but it's true. It's like, just believe these people when they tell you what's going on. All you have to do is pay attention to what they're saying. And again, I guess that gets back to these liberals having this obsession with like following the rules and all that stuff too, and these appeals to authority. Our authorities, the authority figures assured us that that's not the way it happened, so they must be telling the truth. We have to default to them, imagining that they're telling the truth every single time they say anything, regardless of how many times they lie over and over and over again. They're in charge. They're the bosses. When they say something, we have to accept it for being true until decades later there's damning evidence that proves that it's not the truth. Because they have this obsession with like the following the rules, and they really believe in the kind of class structure. They believe in the meritocracy. They believe that like people at the top deserve to be there because there are betters. They would never lie to us. These people would never lie to us. They're our friends. We've completed that gas station had all kinds of problems domestically. We've completed our independent investigation and will not release it. Now, I guess the world will just never know. No. I believe in the meritocracy. These people worked hard to get to these positions of power, and they did that by telling the truth. Exactly. Like, how stupid do you have to be? You could start doing burglaries with your cat ears, though. I was just doing something or something ridiculous that would like obviously be me, you know? That's why Vince McMahon is so wealthy. Yeah, I mean, to get to that position, you have to be fucking a sick person.
This is some guy, Rob Russo, some leftist based in Canada. I was turned on to this sick individual, and I found this.
Hello, Benny. Hello, Benny Raiders. What is up? How was the Benny.gay stream today? I hope it was good. Thank you for the raid, Benny. I really appreciate it. We're just talking about how much we like voting, and we think it's good and cool. That's what we're talking about. It was Ukrainian mermen in a rowboat. No, I mean, I think like the last time they put out some semblance of an actual story, it's like, oh yeah, it was these Ukrainian nationalists, but not the ones we've been arming and funding and training, though. This was completely, we had nothing to do with this. They were like, they found the like 5 Ukrainians that like didn't get armed and funded and trained by the CIA, and they were the ones that blew up the Nord Stream pipeline. We had no idea they were doing this. Thanks, Benny. Thanks again for the raid. Give our regards to your friend. In Cyberpunk 2077, America broke apart when the NSA, CIA, FBI, and DEA created a shadow government that eventually led to a Vietnam-style quagmire in Mexico, and a coup occurred in response. I feel like reality is much, much stupider so far. I think, if anything, I think we should expect everything to be significantly dumber than we've ever imagined. I think that's been one thing for me as growing up in the 80s and 90s and thinking about like cyberpunk or like future dystopia stuff, like we talk about Paul Verhoeven movies and stuff. I think that's one thing that I definitely underestimated, how much stupider everything is. You know? Like it's a dystopia, but it's really dumb and like not cool. It's like a really stupid, embarrassing dystopia. It's way more embarrassing than I thought. Verhoeven actually predicted the future. Well, that's what I mean about Verhoeven. I don't think it's as ridiculous as actual reality, even though you watch it and it seems almost like a comedy. It's so like outrageous. But then we're here now in the future that some of those films was depicting, and it's like, this is so much worse. It's so much dumber. Yeah, no, Republicans do want to bomb Mexico too, so it's like maybe it's on the horizon. Yeah, Carpenter too, absolutely. Yeah, they live. You should try to get Radhika Desai on to talk about what's going on in China. That would sounds good. I can make a note of that. I will. I am talking to Vijay Prashad in a couple weeks now. I can ask him about it as well, because that is something that he, I know, pays attention to. We can see what he has to say about all this business. Seriously, wow. What a great moment. National Lampoon storms the Capitol. Well, there's been a lot of chit chat in here. Wow, I really kind of got off on I was in like a fugue state for the last like hour and 15 minutes. I've just been talking nonstop. But I think coming back to like how we started getting into all that shit, it's just like I think that's why we're all here, is because we have this kind of feeling about everything. We have these kind of similar critiques and similar ideas. And when you're alone and by yourself, you feel insane for thinking the way you do. And all of a sudden, when you're in a community with people that agree and that have the same values, it's like, oh wow, I'm not. There's not something wrong with me. Oh, well, I don't know. Maybe I should get to some like video content or something. What should we do here? You can, by the way, if you enjoy this program, you can subscribe. I've been talking here like for like an hour and 40 minutes straight here. If you want to join help support this program, TRRS, please subscribe if you can. As you know, I do this show every single day. We have a media industry that's just dying. Vice is the latest example of a like massive media company that just a few years ago was valued at like $6 billion, where I got my start really in like freelance writing, or that definitely raised and elevated my profile and helped me get to where I am today. We have they're just being bought out by these like venture capitalist sociopaths and taken apart, sold for spare parts. I feel really lucky that I have the ability to do this show every day and that I can make a little bit of income from it. And I'm also not beholden to these forces that seem to be affecting the media industry to the same extent. But the only way that this show can continue, though, is if people subscribe to the show. I've got to make the little number at the bottom of the screen go up each and every day. That's just the way it works. So if you can, please subscribe to TRRS. Taking a sick day, aka a Helldivers Day. Oh, you're gonna have to add you, Husker. We've been getting some good squad action going. Were you body slammed when you did that piece? No, I was not, and that was one thing I regretted. I regretted not asking Drew Onyx, the owner and coach at Torture Chamber Pro Wrestling Dojo. I regretted not asking him to body slam me. I wanted to just take one bump, and I blew it. I had an opportunity to get body slammed by a real professional wrestler, and I blew it.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Kijiji, thank you. Thank you for the gifted sub. I really do appreciate everyone that supports this show and allows me to continue to do it, because, again, like, it's in the any possibility of having a career in media just seems to be like dwindling away to basically nothing.
You've just become an elite member of the Friendship Triangle.
Oh, goodness. Dan Wally. Thank you very much, Dan Wally, for 5 gifted subs. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you, Dan Wally. I appreciate it. And thank you once again to Kijiji as well for the gifted sub. Couldn't remember if I said anything. Thank you, Dan. Very kind of you. And if anyone else wants to subscribe, now would be a great time to do it. We've got in the lead this month, coming from out of nowhere, Diego, leading the pack in terms of gifted subs this month. You've got Burgles in a close second, and we got Riskinverse third. That's kind of exciting. Hello, Strong Bad Emails. Okay, so before I move on here, does anyone else want to subscribe to this program? There's still time. There's still time to do this. I mean, there's not time.
You've just become an elite member of the Friendship Triangle.
Mask loves you. Thanks for the 5 gifted subs. Hell yeah. Thank you, Mask loves you. I appreciate it. Thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Very, very kind of you. Okay. How's my Sarah Jamal video doing? I swear to God, one day I will put out a YouTube video that people watch. One of these days. One of these days I will. I don't believe that is Dwight from The Office. Can someone... I don't know who does the what face. I don't know who that is.
You've just become an elite member of the Friendship Triangle.
Oh my goodness, Comrade Bushy. Thank you so much, Comrade Bushy, for the 5 gifted subs. Always coming through to bail me out. Comrade Bushy, I appreciate it.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
And Sikalufakis, thank you for the 26 months of Prime. What face is an emote on Twitch that features an image of Twitch staffer Alex Golden Boy Mendez? There we go. Lodane's on the case. Detective Lodane's on the case.
You've just become an elite member of the Friendship Triangle.
Riskinverse. Riskinverse, thanks for the 5 gifted subs. I really appreciate all the support, Riskinverse. Did that just not go up? Am I crazy? You joke, but I have looked into getting a PI license. I think that would be great for you, Lodane. I would like to see you talk about your exploits too, with a voiceover narration and some smoky jazz music playing in the background. The dame came to me with a problem. Sounded like the exact kind of problem that could become a problem for me. But I needed the job. Anyway, problems are my middle name. I'm Lodane. I'm a private dick. Sorry. When that came out of my mouth, that didn't sound right. I think I had something good there, and then that's not, I don't think that's what you would say. Or maybe it would. If you only had femme clients, maybe that would make sense. That's what you say, a private dick, in Big Lebowski. A dick, man. I'm a big time private dick. Okay, good. I'm glad you're on board with this. Okay, I swear Riskin versus Gifted Sub didn't increase the number. Am I crazy? A dick, man. A brother Seamus. Riskin was faked it. He faked a gift sub in order to get the praise. Wow. Like an Irish monk. One of my favorite things about that scene? One of my favorite things about that scene is when the dude's like approaching him and he goes this move, the private detective. It was like Fantino is his name or something like that. And he goes like, he's like trying to get him to stop. He puts his arms way up here. It's so weird, but I love it. There's random details that I just enjoy about that. It didn't change. There have been 21 subs since my 5. Well, I'm getting the notifications, so the number will go up eventually, I think. But folks, we've got 1 minute left in this hype train. At level 4, we could get to level 5. We could get, I think, one more, possibly just 2 more gift subs could get to level 5, which would mean different emotes, more emotes. There could be more emotes. 87% of the way through this level of the scam train. Emotes. Vaughn Knutson. Oh, man.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Anon, thank you. The most Christ-like... And look, it unclogged the pipes. The other gifted sub there, it unclogged the pipes. Amazing. It's like when a vending machine gets jammed and you get the thing behind it and then it unplugs everything. I'm not acknowledging you, St. Lotus. I'm not acknowledging these. You're going to keep them down on the farm once they've seen Carl Hungus. He was in a musical group, Autobahn. Put out an LP in the 70s, kind of an earthy techno pop. Okay. Well, yeah, maybe I can move on to some kind of video kind of content here. I'm going to link my Oh my goodness, Dan, thank you for the 1,000.
Here's a US tenner. Go have a few real Molsons on me.
Good Lord, Dan. Thank you for the 1,000 bits. I really appreciate all the support today, Dan. Thank you for that. He's Knox Harrington, the video artist. What the fuck is with this guy? Who is he? What do you do, man? Oh, not much. Please give the Sarah Jama video another like if you can. Just give it a little thumbs up. David Thewlis, I know he can do anything, Doc. Like, he was so terrifying in that season of Fargo. He can be terrifying and intimidating, and he can also be Knox Harrington, the video artist. Amazing. I'm performing my dance quintet. You know, my cycle? I'll be there, man.
It's the email. The email.
What's this
the email?
Emails? What's this? Let's see here.
It's the email. The email. What? The email. Hey, Strongbad. You like techno at all? If you do, what kind? Silent J. Oh, that's very clever. Well, it's not really my style, but I heard a techno song one time that went like dum 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 dum, and then this other part came.
Sorry. I wasn't looking. I was looking at the video and I was not looking at what was happening on the screen. We're starting it over.
It's the email. The email. What? The email. Hey, Strongbad. You like techno at all? If you do, what kind? Silent J. Oh, that's very clever. Well, it's not really my style, but I heard a techno song one time that went like dum 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 dum, and then this other part came in and it was like dum 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 dum, and then there's always some kind of high-pitched noise, you know, or like a siren. It's like dum 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 dum, and of course they have to put in the obligatory old movie quote from some sci-fi movie. It's like the system is down, the system is down, the system is down, the system is down, dum 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 dum. The system is down. The system is down. The system is down. The cheat is grounded. We had that light switch installed for you so you could turn the lights on and off. Not so you could throw light switch raves. Now let's go break open that glow stick and pour it into Homestar Runner's Mountain Dew. I heard they have to pump your stomach when you drink that stuff.
Very nice. No, I don't know why, but yeah, I am old, and no, I've not ever seen that. I don't know. I just don't know. No, I've not seen Trogdor. No. Is this so weird? Why is this so weird? I don't know. I wasn't into this. When I was in the mid-2000s, I was like playing in bands and smoking weed and playing NBA Live for 8 hours at a time on PlayStation. And watching like 24 and like various TV shows. That's how I spent most of my time. I wasn't looking at this nerdy shit, okay? We got a cool guy over here. Yeah, excuse me for living my life. I was visiting with friends and creating art. I'm saying it's an adventurous youth, but really a lot of that time I was just in a smoke-filled room playing PlayStation, playing video game basketball on PlayStation. From the age of like 23 to 26, I was doing a whole lot of that. A whole lot of that. I was in Pound Town. I mean, yeah, I did have girlfriends at the time as well. I should mention that. I was busy playing music and smooching people. Smooching my girlfriend. You mean you were locked into Newgrounds watching viral Flash animations? And no, I was not. I must admit that I was not doing that.
We simply use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
Can't leave at number 4.
Well, let me ask you, this is the real question. Did you go to prom or go home and play GoldenEye? I went to prom. Dan Wally, thank you for the 200 bits. Thank you for all the support today, Dan. I really appreciate it. My band played at my prom. Oh, that's cool. We don't have prom in Canada. Well, it's not like prom in the United States, but there's still like a ceremony and a dinner and a party in a field afterwards. That was prom to me. You called it grad? Okay, yeah, I guess that makes sense. I kind of remember that now. This is a long time ago, okay? This is a long fucking time ago. This is like 25 years ago. Give me a break here. It was 2010 for me. Yeah, it was 2000. That's how old I am. Anyway, I wasn't trying to offend anybody. If you're into that Newgrounds stuff or whatever, I think that's wonderful. That's wonderful for you. I just wasn't really looking at that at the time. I don't know. I don't remember what I was doing on the internet at that time. What was I doing? It's a good question. I was on MySpace. I was on a lot of MySpace. That's more what I was up to. I had the shit out of some MySpace. No offense to any of the nerds in chat. I mean, listen, I'm not going to discriminate. I'm here right in front of the computer with you guys every single day. You know, we can joke around. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'm above that shit. Okay? I'm literally a Twitch streamer, so I'm not going to high and mighty about this with anybody. I used to code my own MySpace page. Oh, that's badass. That's badass. We must return. We must return. This is what they took from us. I still have access to mine. I think all my shit has been deleted. I think I saw someone mentioning that the other day too. They're like, "Oh, so if you write anything on the internet, it's like in ink forever. It's there forever." But it's like none of my MySpace pictures are there still. Maybe mine is. I don't know. I don't fucking know. You weren't putting hidden links in message boards, tricking people into opening the Goatse JPEG. No, I was not. I really was not part of the whole like message board culture. Posting is more something I got more into like when I got Twitter. Yeah, I was just thinking, Lodan, a few minutes ago, like when this came up about how like apparently Justin Timberlake bought MySpace at some point, but it's probably some different ownership group that has it now. Explains why the new Discord was so confusing for you. Well, like I said, I'm starting to get it more now. Just the way that the UI is built is where it splits the screen into 3. I find that's a little bit annoying, but doesn't matter and probably not worth talking about right now. Oh, I was big into ICQ. Yeah, I loved ICQ. ICQ is so cool. That was because like I don't know if anyone else can recognizes this kind of thing, but like when the internet was first introduced, because like I'm of the age where I grew up without it. You know, I'm with the last age that grew up without the internet. And for a while, like I got the internet, but there was not that much going on there, you know? And then when I got ICQ, I was like, oh, wow, this is like really actually connecting with people and I can talk to my friends and stuff. And I had MSN Messenger as well. I was big on MSN Messenger, but that was after ICQ. ICQ was the first for me. And there was a couple of like chats. There were some online chats that I would go into, I remember. The MTV chat rooms on AOL. And like I've talked about before, I had a website on Tripod. I made a Tripod website. This whole convo is making me feel cozy. Well, this is the thing. I didn't do Homestar Runner and this like Newgrounds Flash animation shit, which apparently was apparently just central to some people's upbringings. But I'm still one of you, okay? I'm still one of you. I just took a different path. A different path. I always thought you would have been a GeoCities guy. No, I was a Tripod. Nice, you found your live journal from 2008. I do have a Blogspot. I was on Blogspot. I made the Wayback Machine delete my live journal shit. I've thought about it too, Lodane. Like, there's certainly stuff that I wrote on the internet that, like, in 2007, 2008, that now I would find embarrassing, definitely. But, like, I don't know. There's this sicko part of me that's like, I don't know. It should still be there, you know? There's just a sicko part of me that's just like, you might as well
use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
This MF said pad.
St. Lotus, thanks for the 200 bits. Thank you so much, St. Lotus, for gifting those 200 bits, and that's the number. That's the exact number of bits that have been donated, and I appreciate it. 200. Thank you. Wow. And now there's like 3 websites, and I just like go to the one website that I go to mostly. It's mostly just like a nonstop stream of things that make me feel bad. Really? How often do you look at this website? Oh, about 7 hours a day. If I was talking to like my past self on the internet 1.0, talking about what it would be like in 2024, I just look at the Feels Bad website most of the time. Yeah. Just a nonstop stream of just the worst things I can imagine. Yeah. owned by one of the worst people in the world. It's just the best. It's really great. Wait till this brave new world that you're headed towards. You get a nonstop a bunch of pictures of dismembered kids, and then other people telling you that it's actually cool. Yeah. Been looking at the bad site for almost 15 years. Me too. I think I was at 13 on my last, or maybe it was 15. Maybe it was 15, my last Twitter anniversary. I think it might have been 15. Like, that's so long.
And we're back in third quarter.
Sorry, let's see here. I got to turn off autoplay. It's obnoxious. And I'll put it on the screen.
Oh, hi, I'm Troy McClure. You might remember me from such self-help videos as Smoke Yourself Thin and Get Confident, stupid. Well, now I'm here to tell you about the only real path to mental health. That's right, it's the Brad Goodman something or other.
Marge, can I go outside and play?
Shh. A few weeks ago, I was a washed-up actor with a drinking problem. Then Brad Goodman came along and gave me this job and a can of fortified wine. Sweet liquor eases the pain. And now I'd like to introduce the man who will put the U in improvement. Brad Goodman.
Thank you so much, Troy. And by the way, I'm not happy you're still drinking. But at least you're down to 1 from more than 50. Folks, I'm often asked about my qualifications. Well, I may not have a lot of credentials or training, but I tell you one thing. I'm a PhD in pain. Now let me show you how you can change your life. Troy, this circle is you.
My God, it's like you've known me all my life. Doctor, you've solved all my problems.
It's funny because I was just thinking about another Simpsons joke the other day, which was also Phil Hartman also doing the thing with booze. When Lionel Hutz, this bottle of bourbon, brownest of all the brown liquors. What's that? You want me to drink you? But I'm in the middle of a trial. Oh, that's good. Fucking Phil Hartman, man. Yeah, I love you too, man. Yeah, David Crosby, yeah. That's great. That's just fantastic. So are we just doing this again? Like, should I watch? I got an Al Jazeera video queued up. Should we talk about something serious maybe for once? It's been 2 days of this.
You can count on me. You're gonna have good old Rob to talk.
And listen, I like shooting the shit with you.
DSA rose less than 3.
I'm pivoting. Variety streamer. No more politics. Spaceman Sador, 10. Thank you for the Prime, the 6 months of Prime. Thank you for that. Time for a tier list. I actually do want to put on some kind of video because I have to go to the bathroom. I think that's another thing that I want to say. And I wanted to get some more DC. Gotta get some more DC. Mr. 770 says water. Do you know how much water is in Diet Coke, though? Like a huge amount. It's like 99%. It's like 99.9% water.
I'm Troy McClure. You might remember me from such self-help videos.
Should we just watch that one?
Parents, smoke yourself thin and get confident, stupid. Have you ever wondered why fat parents have
I'll be right
fat
back.
children? Or why Chinese parents have Chinese children? It's no coincidence. It's because of DNA. Hi, I'm Troy McClure. You may remember me from such medical films as Alice Doesn't Live Anymore and Mommy, What's Wrong with That Man's Face?
But Mr. McClure, what is DNA?
What the? Oh, hi, Billy. Let's find out together. DNA is God's recipe for making you. You take a dash of Dad, a pinch of Mom, then we bake for 9 months and... that's good, Billy.
Mr. McClure, what does DNA stand for?
Hi, I'm Troy McClure. You may remember me from such nature films as Earwigs, Ooh, and Man vs. Nature, The Road to Victory. In all the animal kingdom, no mother is more devoted than the blue jay. Valuing her eggs above even her own life, the mother bird bravely fights off such fearsome predators as the badger and the mongoose. Of course, one thing Mother Blue Jay can't defend against is a set of steel tongs. Eggs, precious eggs. If they're to survive, they require the gentle warmth and tender love that only a mother can provide. Or better yet, a 75-watt bulb. Oh, hello. In a few days, our eggs will hatch into nestlings like these over here.
They look awfully hungry, Mr. McClure.
They sure are, Billy. In nature, their mother would regurgitate food for them to eat.
That's gross.
It sure is, Billy. It sure is. You might remember me from such educational films as Lead Paint, Delicious but Deadly, and Here Comes the Metric System. I'm here to provide the facts about sex in a frank and straightforward manner. And now here's Fuzzy Bunny's Guide to You-Know-What. This is Fuzzy Bunny. About a year ago, he noticed his voice was changing. He had terrible acne and had fur where there was no fur before. He also noticed Fluffy Bunny.
Boring.
And they never ruined their fun by giving in to their throbbing biological urges. Then came the big day. Fluffy and Fuzzy got married. That night came the honeymoon.
She's faking it.
The most satisfying part of the night was knowing that they waited. 9 months later, Fluffy gave birth to 14 beautiful bunnies. 8 survive. And now that you know how it's done, don't do it. Nothing beats a stroll in cattle country.
I like that he's almost like an immortal figure. He's just going through the eras and he never changes. There's Krusty as well. You see him in like the 70s and the 60s and stuff. And you see him going through all the different eras. He's like an immortal being.
Hi, I'm Troy McClure. You may remember me from such educational films as 2 minus 3 equals negative fun and Firecrackers, the Silent Killer.
Mr. McClure?
Oh, hello, Bobby.
Firecrackers, the Silent Killer
Curious
is
as to
good.
how meat gets from the ranch to my stomach.
Whoa, 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 slow down, Jimmy. You just asked a mouthful. It all starts here in the high-density feedlot. Then when the cattle are just right, it's time for them to graduate from Bovine University. Come on, Jimmy. Let's take a peek at the killing floor. Don't let the name throw you, Jimmy. It's not really a floor. It's more of a steel grating that allows material to sluice through so it can be collected and exported. Getting hungry, Jimmy?
Mr. McClure, I have a crazy friend who says it's wrong to eat meat. Is he crazy?
No, just ignorant. You see, your crazy friend never heard of the food chain. Just ask this scientician. He'll tell you that in nature, one creature invariably eats another to survive. Don't kid yourself, Jimmy. If a cow ever got the chance, he'd eat you and everyone you care about.
Wow, Mr. McClure, I was a grade A moron to ever question eating meat.
Yes, you were, Jimmy. Yes, you were.
You're hurting me.
Troy McClure. I thought he
Let's ask
disappeared
this
after that scandal at the
scientician.
aquarium.
Hey, I thought you said Troy McClure was dead.
No, what I said was he sleeps with the fishes. You see...
Tony, please, no. I just ate a whole plate of dingamagoo.
Tonight, 70s leading man Troy McClure has finally met the woman of his dreams. We may remember... Woman? Huh. Okay. We may remember Troy from such films as The Verdict Was Mail Fraud and Leper in the Backfield.
With his high-profile romance, Troy's managed to shake the rumors that have dogged his career. And with news of his upcoming wedding, rumor has it he's up for some very choice roles.
Looks like you were wrong when you called him a washed-up deviant, eh, Laurie? All right.
I'm going to SeaWorld!
Are you gay?
Gay? I wish. If I were gay, there'd be no problem. No, what I have is a romantic abnormality. One so unbelievable that it must be hidden from the public at all costs. You see...
Stop!
I'm Troy McClure, star of such films as P is for Psycho and The President's Neck is Missing. But now I'm here to tell you about a remarkable new invention. Until now, this was the only way to get juice from an orange.
You mean there's a better way?
Troy, would you like a glass of orange juice?
I sure would. But won't we have to pay those outrageous grocery store prices for something the farmer probably spit in?
Not anymore. All thanks to the new juice loosener.
Doctor, are you sure it's on? I can't hear a thing.
It's Mr. Quiet!
You got all that from one bag of orange?
taking down the economy 1 hour at a time. I accidentally got the promotion. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry to hear that.
Claire uses Asana, a work management platform, to get more done and save more time by connecting teams to track updates and visualize timelines. Try it for free.
Claims that she forgot she was carrying that bottle of delicious bourbon, brownest of the brown liquors. So tempting. What's that? You want me to drink you, but I'm in the middle of a trial. Excuse me. Hello, David. I'm really tempted.
Just take it one day at a time and know that I love you.
I love you too, man.
It's just the best. Webster's dictionary defines a contract as a legally binding agreement that is unbreakable. That is unbreakable. Excuse me, I must use the restroom. But I have uBlock Origin, which appears to be off. There's the problem. There's the old problem. It appears to be off. That'll do it. That is unbreakable.
I am excited. I can sense a change in the air tonight. You are all going to start living. Really living. Be like the boy.
Be like boy. Be like boy.
Just the ladies.
Be like boy. Be like boy.
Now, the seniors in the back.
We like Roy. We like Roy.
This is madness. He's just peddling a bunch of easy answers.
And how?
Lise, everyone in town is acting like me. So why does it suck? It's simple, Bart. You've defined yourself as a rebel, and in the absence of a repressive milieu, your societal niche has been co-opted. I see. Ever since that self-help guy came to town, you've lost your identity. You've fallen through the cracks of our quick-fix, one-hour photo instant oatmeal society. What's the answer? Well, this is your chance to develop a new and better identity. May I suggest good-natured doormat? Sounds good, sis. Just tell me what to do.
Oh, boy. If only Bart had been a better role model for everyone.
That's not fair. The lesson here is that self-improvement is better left to people who live in big cities.
No, self-improvement can be achieved, but not with a quick fix. It's a long, arduous journey of personal and spiritual discovery.
That's what I've been saying. We're all fine the way we are. Ooh, it's that new show about the policeman who solves crimes in his spare time.
Crank it, Homer.
You busted up that crack house pretty bad, McGonagall. Did you really have to break so much furniture?
You tell me, Chief. You had a pretty good view from behind your desk.
McGonagall eases the pain.
You're off the case, McGonagall.
You're off your case, Chief.
What does that mean, exactly?
It means he gets results, you stupid chief!
Dad, sit down.
Oh, I'm sorry.
McGonagall. Well, McGonagall, Billy's dead. Back off, I'm trying to eat a sandwich here. Yeah, they're forcing politics in their episodes. It's unbelievable. Nowadays, it's all woke. It's gone woke. There is never any or the people that say like, oh, The Simpsons, it's about like a conservative family and like, you know, family values and stuff. And the idea that they're projecting any kind of like interesting ideas is just some kind of woke phenomenon. I mean, the people that say that are the same people that think Starship Troopers is like totally a straightforward movie about how bug
a full year
aliens are
subs
bad.
to Poggies.
Radispi, thanks for 12 months. Thanks for 12 months of tier 1. I appreciate it. I like the clips of all the McBain movie scenes to make the full movie. Yeah, you know who loves that is my son. He loves McBain. He loves McBain. He loves when McBain throws his boss out of the window. He's watched the whole McBain movie, the one that's been like edited together into a movie. McBain is like his favorite. He's got good taste. I know. I'm happy I put him onto The Simpsons, really. He does really like it. We watched just the other day, we watched the Itchy and Scratchy Land episode. There's a silly video game my boy's been playing. I asked him, what is it? He told me it's Starship Troopers, the game. That's right. It's Helldivers. That's right. What age was he that you got him onto The Simpsons? I think it was either, you know what it was, Old Dutch? It was either last year or the year before. I showed him one of the at Halloween. I showed him one of the Treehouse of Horror episodes. And I think I showed him Cape Fear as well. And he really liked Cape Fear, which is my favorite episode. No one ruins vacations except for me. And maybe the boy. My son is also named Bort. We've run out of Bort license plates in the gift shop. Was it like watching black and white movies for him? Well, weirdly enough, he's actually kind of likes watching black and white movies. Like I said, a couple months ago, we went to see The Hunchback of Notre Dame, which he loves. He loves The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and we went to see the original film from the 1920s at a theater, at like a church. They did a showing of The Hunchback of Notre Dame in a church, and we went, and he watched the whole thing. He was really into it. And there was like a live organ player playing the organ soundtrack with it. He was the only 8-year-old there, but he really liked it though. Is that a Sideshow Bob one? Yeah, it's the one that's a parody of the film Cape Fear. The Scorsese one. We're going to Dogman the musical tomorrow. Is that Dogman like the Captain Underpants offshoot thing, Matt? He just got one of those books the other day. I had a book fair the other day, and he got a Dogman book. He was very excited. Is it that? Your son is my 70-year-old uncle. Yes. Speaking of sons, don't you have to go get him? Not for about another hour. Because some days he stays at school until 5. Because he has like the after school stuff, and then on Tuesdays and Thursdays he doesn't. Well, I didn't know there was a Dogman musical. I'm gonna have to look it up now because he's really into that shit. He loves that. I gotta think he's gonna come over in a couple minutes. We're gonna have pizza from Pizza Hut. And I'm wondering what we're going to watch. We might watch the new Avatar, because I think it debuts today. So I think we might watch the new Avatar series, or at least the first episode of it. He's still really like hard-headed about what we watch and don't watch. He really just has like a series of like scenes that he wants to see. So if he chooses what to watch, he usually just sits there and watches like a bunch of theme music that he likes, watches a bunch of scenes in movies that he likes. Does he like Studio Ghibli? He likes it. We saw the most recent one in the theater a couple months ago. Like he loves the end of the early 80s Return of the King animated movie. And there's the part at the end of the movie when Frodo keeps the ring and it plays this song and he just watches that part over and over. He's like all determined and he's walking towards the fires of Mount Doom and he just watches it and it plays this song and he acts it. He does acting at the same time. He goes, Dad, look at me. Dad, look at me. Look at me. Dad. And I'm like, huh? Yeah. And he puts on the thing when Frodo's walking and he goes and like walks along with the song. It's really funny. Frodo of the Nine Fingers. Yeah. But it's the beware the power of the ring. It's like a song like that with like a little march. Those animated ones go hard. Honestly, like it's pretty good, that animated Return of the King. It's weird that they only made that one. Like they could have made the whole series, but I guess they didn't have the money and they just made that one. It's pretty good though. We're basically full-time Gravity Falls and Simpsons. He watches, he really likes Big Hero 6 still. He really likes Ralph Breaks the Internet. He watches those a lot. He loves the part in Big Hero 6 when he puts in the like evil chip to Baymax and Baymax goes and tries to like kill the guy and it plays this like scary music. He loves that part. No, I know there's a Hobbit one. I think the Hobbit one's different though. It's like rotoscoped. It's like they filmed actors and like drew over the actors. It's like a different animation style and it's kind of a different team. That was Fellowship and Two Towers. Okay. Are they all supposed to go together? That's the question. I didn't know if it was like an actual trilogy because it's so different in like stylistically. Yeah, I said rotoscoping, didn't I say that? I think I said that. Like how they did A Scanner Darkly. I think The Hobbit was in the same style of Return of the King. I don't think so because I remember I've seen the scene when they're trying to get into the mines of Moria, like the scene from Fellowship of the Ring, and it's a totally different animation style. It's like that rotoscoped look. Anyway, he loves that. Oh, The Hobbit was in the... Okay. I see what you mean, Ian. I was confused. I didn't know there was a Hobbit one. That's interesting. That's what I do. I'm a rotoscopic animator. Very cool. Very, very cool.
At issue tonight, the government is promising new legislation to protect minors online. The conservatives aren't waiting to slam it.
Is this what you meant to share with me, Strong Bad Emails? You were the one advocating that we just do jokes, and now you're sharing with me the national clips. which is it? Now I'm in the jokes mindset. Now I'm in the jokes mentality. And you're sending me something like Andrew Coyne. You're going to give me a heart attack. Andrew Coyne is my nemesis. We were doing jokes here, and now you want me to look at Andrew Coyne weighing in on the online harms bill. Are you trying to mess with me here? You messing with me? Oh, man. No, I'm strong bad emails. I'm punting this now, though. I have to punt this. I'm going on 3 hours here. Now this is a whole segment now. I'm going to be here for the next hour talking about this. We start looking at this shit. It's 3:44 p.m. I'm ready to clock out. I'm ready to clock out of here. I will watch it and talk to you about it after. Watching At Issue on stream is my shtick. I can't. This shit drives me mental. I call it clocking out for my dog when I take her collar off at night. Yeah. He's clocking out at the dog factory. It's been a long, tiresome day of being a dog. Is there, strong bad emails, is there a specific thing you wanted to see in this? Is it the personal attacks over online harms bill? Was it the Quebec wants $1 billion for asylum seeker influx? I watch every week and I missed last night. Okay, I see what you're up to. I see what you're up to here. Listen, if you're a sicko and you need to watch this content, you can do this on your own time, all right? If you get at me earlier, I can do that kind of thing. We're in, my brain's getting shut off. It's the end of the week. You can watch this instead. I was going to put on an Al Jazeera video like an hour ago. And the community, and because this is a democracy.
Here I go once again with the...
Because this is a democracy, the community wanted silly jokes. Okay? This is what the community decided, including you yourself. We're mid-goon. I've never seen any of this
Here
stuff.
I go once again with the email. Every week I hope that it's from a female. Oh man, it's not from a female. Hey Strongbad, can you draw a dragon? I want to see your skills of an artist. Okay. Well, G2G, Geyser from California. A dragon? That's easy. Feel free to follow along with my simple step-by-step instructions. I make drawing fun. To begin, draw an S for snake, or dragon, or whatever. Next, we'll draw a more different S. For the head, put a top mark on a long V. Then you add some legs, throw on a couple of arms, and... Whoa, wait a minute. I think I need to start over. This thing doesn't look natural. Okay, starting again, the same way. S, more different S. Close it up real good at the top for his head, and then, using consummate V's, give him teeth, spinities, and angry eyebrows. And you can add smoke or fire, or maybe some wings. You know, if he's a wing-a-ling dragon. Let's put one of those beefy arms back on him for good measure. That looks really good. Coming out of the back of his neck there. Now he needs a name. How about Trogdor the Burninator? Oh yeah. Check out all his majesty. There's my dragon, Kaiser. Let's see how the other students are doing. Alright. What do you got for me, Coach Z?
Take a look there. I think she's looking pretty good.
I said consummate, V's. Consummate! Jeez. Guy wouldn't know majesty if it came up and bit him in the face.
It happened once.
Strong man. You just keep doing your thing, man. Get out of my house!
I do what I'm told.
Oh, crap. I didn't know you were doing one.
Oh, sure. I think I've improved on your methods a bit, too. I employed some chiaroscuro shading and...
I'll improve on your methods.
What? That's not an improvement.
Trogdor strikes again!
Trogdor! Trogdor!
Trogdor was a man. I mean, he was a dragon man. I mean, he was just a dragon. But he was still Trogdor! Trogdor! Burninating the countryside, burninating the peasants, burninating all the people in the thatched roof cottages! Thatched roof cottages! And the Trogdor comes in the night!
I'm just glad you're all having fun. Okay? I'm glad you're all having fun. That's the most important thing. That's the most important thing. You're all just hitting me with references that I just have no clue. Like this, you could have conspired behind the scenes to like, let's convince Rob of this meme or saying my spoon. Let's say just my spoon is too big. You could have conspired to just like trick me into thinking that, and like, I wouldn't know. I'm seeing all kinds of references that I've got no frame of reference. I'm like a child that wanders into the middle of a movie. What is this now? What is this? Oh, I do think that I've seen at least some of this. Yeah, no, I believe I've seen this. And they become like weirder and weirder and darker and darker.
My spoon is too big.
I should actually show these to my kids. They probably really like them.
Too big. My spoon is too big. I am a banana.
You should see the animations he does. He makes
Tuesday's
really
coming.
cool ones.
Did you bring your coat?
I live in a giant bucket.
You're watching the Family Learning Channel. And now, angry ticks fire out of my nipples. Say, do you want to go see a movie? I'm feeling fat and sassy. Do you?
Honestly, Lodan, he would love that. I think he would love that one.
Oh, honey, come quick. Poopy's taking his first steps.
Dance! Everybody dance!
The monkey poured coffee in my moods.
That's what today's all about, Wizard. We're all feeling all that today. That's going to be loud for audio only. Wow. Yeah, it's been a while since I'd seen that one. That is something that I had seen. Decadent, what, you didn't enjoy that? I imagine for that must have been pretty terrifying for audio only gang. My apologies to audio only gang. Folks, I gotta go. It's 4 o'clock. It's 4 o'clock. I gotta punch out. I'm punching out from the content factory. 7 subs away from the goal, folks. 7 measly subs to the goal. If you're watching this and you have enjoyed this program today, we didn't do a lot of serious stuff. I mean, I guess there was a little serious discussion. I was on a long-winded rant there for the first hour and 15 minutes, so I guess there was somewhat serious discussion today.
You can count on me.
Today
You're going to have
happening.
good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Maverick, thanks for 27 months, tier 1. Thank you, Maverick. I appreciate it. Honestly, Lodane, I think you would really like the parts where it's all falling apart and you can see the paper and all that stuff. I think you would find that really cool because he loves animation. And that totally just changes what you think animation can be. I think the anus is bleeding one is probably the one that I would not want to show him. You know? I think that would probably be the one that I would be a little uncomfortable. Even the eye bleeding one, I think he would probably be pretty into that. I think this shit I think he would be into. The whole deconstruction postmodern part. That I think he would be into. Thank God I missed the serious discussion but caught the bleeding anus. There was some very good serious discussion before. You can still check that out. I encourage you to check it out. Only 6 subs to go, folks. Do we have 6 subs? It's so close to being the good number. It's so close to being the good number. Only 6 measly subs away. Help a guy who spends all his money on rent. You know it. Give the bleeding anus a couple years, definitely. Yeah, that would be one that I would not do. Are there 6 brave heroes? Are there 6 brave soldiers out there that are going to subscribe to this program and drag my tired ass across the finish line for today? Six brave heroes. Someone's gonna drag his tired ass across the finish line. Look how tired I am.
Good old Rob to
look at
talk
me.
you through all this.
Just look at me. Thank you, Quiet 185. I really appreciate that. Thank you. I know how it goes, Riot Vision. I know how it goes.
You've just become an elite member of the Friendship Triangle.
Plunger Man. Thank you so much for 5 gifted subs.
You can count on me.
Very, very
and
kind
good
of
old
you.
Rob to talk you through all this.
And thank you, Lodane, as well, for gifting a sub to Riot Vision. That's very kind of you, Lodane. Thank you. Great way to spend the workday. One of our most cherished and decorated time theft soldiers, Plunger Man. Thank you for that, and thank you, folks, for tuning into the program this week. It's yet another week in the books. Yet another week in the books. And this was a good one. It was that interview with Sarah Jama was fantastic the other day. In fact, I'm going to link that one more time. I'm going to link that conversation with Sarah Jama one more time in the chat. Please, if you can, just give it a thumbs up. You know? YouTube just doesn't want people to see the content that I'm putting out on there. One day I'm going to have a YouTube video that people watch. And if you can just give it a little measly little thumbs up, that'd be very helpful. And I was really happy with that conversation with Sarah Jama. I listened back to it today. It's also in podcast form. I give it 2 thumbs up. Very nice. That's what we need. That's the kind of dedication that we need. Strong Bad Emails are going to be an elite tier member of this community before long. Before you know it. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me. Thanks, folks. Once again, thank you. Thanks for tuning in this week. Thanks for supporting this program. I appreciate you all. I hope you have a nice weekend. Oh, as if see, I'm a sleepy guy now. You smoke good, correct? Only Reggie. Reggie. Is it Reggie or is it Reggie? Fire. Time for a nap. I got no time for a nap. I got parenting. I got parenting to do. No nap for me. Maybe I'll be fucking kids stonewalling me. Maybe I will be. I might be hell diving later though. Maybe around 9:30 8:30 p.m. I might be doing some hell diving. And squat up. Thanks, folks. I get fully destroyed off one half a hit of that booty shit.